Who is Albert Einstein? Albert Einstein was a German born on 14th of March 1879, theoretical physicist who is widely held to be one of the greatest and most influential scientists of all time. Best known for developing the theory of relativity, Einstein also made important contributions to quantum mechanics, and was thus a central figure in the revolutionary reshaping of the scientific understanding of nature that modern physics accomplished in the first decades of the 20th century. His mass-energy equivalence formula E-mc2, which arises from relativity theory, has been called the world's most famous equation. He received the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics for his services to theoretical physics, and especially for his discovery of the law of the photoelectric effect, a pivotal step in the development of quantum theory. His work is also known for its influence on the philosophy of science. Born in the German Empire, Einstein moved to Switzerland in 1895, forsaking his German citizenship the following year. In 1897, at the age of 17, he enrolled in the mathematics and physics teaching diploma program at the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, graduating in 1900. In 1901, he acquired Swiss citizenship, which he kept for the rest of his life. In 1903, he secured a permanent position at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. In 1905, he submitted a successful PhD dissertation to the University of Zurich. In 1914, he moved to Berlin in order to join the Prussian Academy of Sciences and the Humboldt University of Berlin. In 1917, he became director of the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute for Physics. He also became a German citizen again, this time as a subject of the Kingdom of Prussia. In 1933, while he was visiting the United States, Adolf Hitler came to power in Germany. Horrified by the Nazi war of extermination against his fellow Jews, Einstein decided to remain in the US and was granted American citizenship in 1940. On the eve of World War II, he endorsed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt alerting him to the potential German nuclear weapons program and recommending that the US begin similar research. Einstein supported the Allies but generally viewed the idea of nuclear weapons with great dismay. In 1905, sometimes described as his annus mirabilis, Einstein published 4 groundbreaking papers. These outlined a theory of the photoelectric effect, explained Brownian motion, introduced his special theory of relativity, a theory which addressed the inability of classical mechanics to account satisfactorily for the behavior of the electromagnetic field, and demonstrated that if the special theory is correct, mass and energy are equivalent to each other. In 1915, he proposed a general theory of relativity that extended his system of mechanics to incorporate gravitation. A cosmological paper that he published the following year laid out the implications of general relativity for the modeling of the structure and evolution of the universe as a whole. The middle part of his career also saw him making important contributions to statistical mechanics and quantum theory. Especially notable was his work on the quantum physics of radiation, in which light consists of particles, subsequently called photons. For much of the last phase of his academic life, Einstein worked on 2 endeavors that proved ultimately unsuccessful. First, he advocated against quantum theory's introduction of fundamental randomness into science's picture of the world, objecting that God does not play dice. Second, he attempted to devise a unified field theory by generalizing his geometric theory of gravitation to include electromagnetism too. As a result, he became increasingly isolated from the mainstream of modern physics. In a 1999 poll of 130 leading physicists worldwide by the British journal Physics World, Einstein was ranked the greatest physicist of all time. His intellectual achievements and originality have made the word Einstein broadly synonymous with genius. Life and career. Albert Einstein was born in Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire, on 14th of March 1879. His parents, secular Ashkenazi Jews, were Hermann Einstein, a salesman and engineer, and Pauline Koch. In 1880, the family moved to Munich's borough of Ludwigsvorstadt-Isar-Vorstadt, where Einstein's father and his uncle Jakob founded Elektrotechnische Fabrik J. Einstein and Cie, a company that manufactured electrical equipment based on direct current. Albert attended St. Peter's Catholic Elementary School in Munich from the age of 5. When he was 8, he was transferred to the Luitpold Gymnasium, where he received advanced primary and then secondary school education. In 1894, Hermann and Jakob's company tendered for a contract to install electric lighting in Munich, but without success, they lacked the capital that would have been required to update their technology from direct current to the more efficient alternating current alternative. The failure of their bid forced them to sell their Munich factory and search for new opportunities elsewhere. The Einstein family moved to Italy, first to Milan, and a few months later to Pavia, where they settled in Palazzo Cornazzani. Einstein, then 15, stayed behind in Munich in order to finish his schooling. His father wanted him to study electrical engineering, but he was a fractious pupil who found the gymnasium's regimen and teaching methods far from congenial. He later wrote that the school's policy of strict rote learning was harmful to creativity. At the end of December 1894, a letter from a doctor persuaded the Luitpold's authorities to release him from its care, and he joined his family in Pavia. While in Italy as a teenager, he wrote an essay entitled "On the Investigation of the State of the Ether in a Magnetic Field." Einstein excelled at physics and mathematics from an early age, and soon acquired the mathematical expertise normally only found in a child several years his senior. He began teaching himself algebra, calculus, and Euclidean geometry when he was 12. He made such rapid progress that he discovered an original proof of the Pythagorean theorem before his 13th birthday. A family tutor, Max Talmud, said that only a short time after he had given the 12-year-old Einstein a geometry textbook, the boy had worked through the whole book. He thereupon devoted himself to higher mathematics. Soon the flight of his mathematical genius was so high, I could not follow. Einstein recorded that he had mastered integral and differential calculus while still just 14. His love of algebra and geometry was so great that at 12, he was already confident that nature could be understood as a mathematical structure. At 13, when his range of enthusiasms had broadened to include music and philosophy, Talmud introduced Einstein to Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. Kant became his favorite philosopher. According to Talmud, at the time he was still a child, only 13 years old, yet Kant's works, incomprehensible to ordinary mortals, seemed to be clear to him. In 1895, at the age of 16, Einstein sat the entrance examination for the Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, Switzerland. He failed to reach the required standard in the general part of the test, but performed with distinction in physics and mathematics. On the advice of the Polytechnic's principal, he completed his secondary education at the Argovian Cantonal School in Aarau, Switzerland, graduating in 1896. While lodging in Aarau with the family of Jost Winteler, he fell in love with Winteler's daughter, Marie. In January 1896, with his father's approval, Einstein renounced his citizenship of the German Kingdom of Württemberg in order to avoid conscription into military service. The Matura awarded to him in the September of that year acknowledged him to have performed well across most of the curriculum, allotting him a top grade of 6 for history, physics, algebra, geometry, and descriptive geometry. At 17, he enrolled in the 4-year mathematics and physics teaching diploma program at the Federal Polytechnic School. Marie Winteler, a year older than him, took up a teaching post in Olsberg, Switzerland. The 5 other Polytechnic School freshmen following the same course as Einstein included just one woman, a 20-year-old Serbian, Mileva Maric. Over the next few years, the pair spent many hours discussing their shared interests and learning about topics in physics that the Polytechnic School's lectures did not cover. In his letters to Maric, Einstein confessed that exploring science with her by his side was much more enjoyable than reading a textbook in solitude. Eventually, the two students became not only friends, but also lovers.
We are concerned here with an act of humanity with the maintaining of cultural values, and not least with a measure of considerable political importance. The effect upon all nations, and not least upon the Germans, of the fate of these innocent people, so maliciously persecuted, must not be underestimated. To leave these victims to their misery would be a heavy blow to all those who believe in human solidarity and would encourage those who believe only in force and oppression and who act accordingly.